Hello everyone, this is Samiksha IAS. Today we are going to talk about a topic called the crash out. The crash out is a trending term among the Gen Zs. It reflects it is a symptom that people are facing excessive stress, especially work related stress. In the present modern society where we sit in the office for prolonged hours working on the system, sometimes beyond the capacity of our brain. Every individual has their own capacity with regards to the extent of work that they could do. Beyond it, what is going to happen is the nervous system itself is showing the symptoms of burnout. Right? Everyone has their own set of capacities. Beyond it, it is going to express itself in a biological sense. We think that it is laziness or flakiness, but in reality, it is high work-related stress. Many of the victims have expressed these frustrations or stress-related phenomena that they have experienced in the social media. The questions to which they raise the answers is that by venting out the stress in the social media, they are able to find solace or comfort. They're able to come out of the stress. At the same time, they are also able to get connected with the people or individuals who are facing the similar symptom. One individual has expressed that high work-related stress, especially on account of the deadlines that they are supposed to meet, the personal as well as professional commitment that they are supposed to observe, etc., is making work more and more difficult. The question that raised is, why is the Gen Z becoming more and more burnt out easily when compared to the previous generations? This cannot be seen in isolation. We have to try to understand it within the context that they are facing in the present day society. What we have observed among the Gen Z people or Gen Z individuals is that they are frequently in connect with the digital world, which is constantly in comparison with one another. They compare with one individual from another in one or the other way. At the same time, it gives us constant stimulation, constant supply of information, constant supply of dopamine, right? Because whenever we feel bored or we have a feeling that we are bored, then we try to access the digital world for entertainment. That is nothing but constantly stimulating, at the same time rushing up the dopamines, etc. and etc. At the same time, the extent of emotional stimulus that we are getting in the present day society, in the academic field, in the work related field, in the office spaces, etc., thus it is overly stimulating our brain and thus letting us burnt out, even though we might not have worked to the extent of work that the previous generation has worked. Right? Especially we are facing the problem of brain rot, where excessive supply of information has been seen again and again to be one of the causes for declining capacities to work harder, etc. Now, you have to also raise this question. Now, why are the people openly posting their feelings in the open media platform, especially in the form of Reels or in Instagram or in X platform? We've already seen that one of the reasons is to find solidarity with others. Srishti argues that one of the reasons is that the people are now openly expressing, whereas in the past it was mostly subsided. The past generation used to express their stress in different ways, like in the form of metaphors, in poetries, whereas now the present generation is openly expressing. This is also an indication that the social spaces aren't providing them enough spaces to vent out their frustrations or stress among their own colleagues or their own friends, their own family members. We have experienced in our family itself, venting out our stress and trying to find comfort is a sign of weakness. This is how society tries to control our stress. Rather than talking about the stress openly, we are made to feel that stress is to be experienced and handled by by the individual who is feeling the stress, rather than trying to find the comfort by venting out the stress to others. Now, the problem also is that some of the stresses that have been expressed in these open platforms are genuine, but certain problems are fake. Srishti argues that the problem arises when it is difficult for us to decide or to evaluate whether the particular post is genuine or fake. genuine problems expressed in these media are important, because these show that society is facing underlying issues which needs to be cured and which needs to be understood rather than stigmatized. Again and again, we see how the past generation tries to stereotype the present generation. The present generation lacks morals. The present generation lacks the hardworking ethic, etc., and etc., rather than trying to understand their problems within the context that they are facing. We are living in the era of infodemic, as I've already explained you in the past. Now, how to overcome this crash? Sarkar argues that, a doctor argues that, firstly, we have to respect our capacities. Every individual has their own capacity. We have to respect it. And we have to find that capacity. And also, we have to communicate with the people. Especially, we have to take the assistance from the professional when we are facing burnout. Because burnout obviously leads to depletion of our capacity. Why? Because burnout also shows that there is a depletion of motivation. Motivation, uh, urge to do work, etc. and etc. Not urge, but motivation. We should not characterize it as laziness. And also, we have to indulge in practices to control and regulate our nervous system, like, for example, meditation practices, etc. And also, we have to set our social spaces. We have to communicate with the other individuals that, in the case of burnout, will be less amenable to indulge in conversation. Right? We cannot communicate with others in the sense not about our symptoms, but we generally try to take our time to overcome the problem of burnout or crash out. Now, these are certain steps that one could follow to overcome the problem of the crash out. So this completes the topic on crash out. Thank you.